Hi! In this video I'm going to show how to make the Bayeux stitch. So what I prepared is several colors of 6-stranded cotton floss. These are colors by DMC, and I'm going to use different needles. This one is size 3, it's gonna fit all 6 strands beautifully for the laid thread, for the foundation, and this one is size 9, it's gonna be perfect for 1-2 strands. If you struggle deciding which needle to use, check out my article, I will link it below the video. It has a cheat sheets that you can save and you will never forget which needle to use. This is the Bayeux stitch without the outline. This example we're gonna do with the outline. I also have my linen fabric, the hoop stand. You really need to use a frame for this. Frame or hoop or something that would keep your fabric taut at all times, because that's the kind of technique that requires it. And I also have my mechanical chalk pencil that I'm gonna use to draw the shape. I'm just gonna do the simple circle, then you can try making a stem and petals, for example. In the end it's gonna be a flower. The Bayeux stitch is good for shapes that are bold, graphic, kind of flat shape with the outline. After transferring the design, we first need to mount the fabric onto the hoop. This hoop stand works just like the other hoop. You need to place the fabric between the hoops, tighten the screw, and I'm going to do it with a screwdriver because it's hard otherwise, and you pull fabric as much as you can to make sure it's drum tight. So you pull it while moving in a circle to make sure you pulled every side in the direction from out of the hoop. Okay, yes, that's a good tension. Next, prepare 6 strands and size 3 embroidery needle with a sharp end, and I'm making a knot on the end. Cross the thread and the needle, rub the thread around a couple of times, and hold that rub between your fingers while you're sliding it down the thread. This is my knot. I'm going to start by making the outline. It will help to create the neat edges, because without the outline your shape wouldn't be as straight as you'd like to. And we have the strict outline that we need to follow. We're making the outline with the outline stitch. It's almost like the stem stitch, if you know that, but made to the other side. So we're gonna come up until the knot hits the fabric from the back, make stitch, then you hold the loop on the left side and come up between those 2 threads, right in the middle. Now we don't need to hold the loop any longer, and we continue making stitches approximately of the same length. Again, I make the stitch and I hold the loop and I come up in the middle between the first and the last threads of the stitch, so it's into the same hole where I ended the first stitch. To know that your stitch lengths are the same, you should have this distance equal this distance, approximately. It doesn't have to be very strictly equal, but that will help to make the uniform line. Traditionally, the outline stitch was made before any filling stitches, and that's how we're doing it today. Traditionally, you would use a finer thread. I'm using all 6 strands, so it would be visible on video. You can use 3 strands, for example, to match the height of the first laid layer. I don't want to waste any time here saying how many strands, colors, and what to use. All of this information is in the file that you can download by subscribing to my mailing list. Link is under the video. It may be a bit more clear what I'm talking about from this view. I'm talking about the distance between these 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, should be equal to these 2, 1, 2. So we come up through the same hole as the previous stitch, and we're making the stitch with the same distance from that stitch. Again, into the same hole where I ended the stitch. To finish, I'm going into the same hole as the stitch that's hiding under. Yeah, I'm just moving it and going down. I have the full circle that looks like twisted thread that's lying on the surface of the fabric. To secure thread, I'm gonna simply slide under the stitches on the back, not piercing any fabric, just going under the thread 1, 2, 3 times is fine. Now we cut thread and let's start the next step. We're gonna fill the shape with long parallel threads laid straight across from one side to another, like this. And we always have on woven fabric the warp and weft. The weft is the vertical lines of the fabric and the weft are horizontal lines. By the way, here they are shifted in other direction, but that doesn't matter. We still have this grid, and this grid is very well used as a guide for the stitches. So we're gonna make the horizontal stitches and you just align them to those lines. Or you can draw the lines with a pen or a pencil. It's up to you. If you want your stitches to be all laid parallel in the same direction, you either draw or use the warp or weft lines as a guide. Now to the first laid layer. You come up from the one side of the shape and go down into the other side as close to the outline as you can. You can place your thread to find that opposite side and come down. Now again, come up as close to the outline as you can and go down close to the outline and close to the previous stitch. You see there shouldn't be any holes between them. So these stitches can be called one-sided satin stitches, and the cool thing about them is that you really don't span thread on the back side. Of course, your filling stitches can be not only horizontal, they can be vertical, they can be diagonal, it's up to you. Place it though close together so they cover the fabric completely with no ground showing between the lines, through the lines. The direction of stitches will affect the final look, and I'm using the contrasting color to the outline for better visibility. It can be made in the same color, contrasting, again up to you and place to experiment. If you don't know where to come down on the other side, you can place the thread along, and now you see the way. Let's have a look. There shouldn't be any holes or fabric visible between the outline and filling stitches and between the filling stitches themselves. What if you're trying to come up as close as possible to your previous stitch and it comes out of fabric? That means that your fabric count is too low. You need not as loose weave, you need tighter weave. So you need more strands of thread crossing each other per centimeter. That can also be solved by using the second layer of fabric underneath your main one. It can be the calico, cotton, muslin, something with a smaller, tighter weave. And you can also see it's a simple open weave, the vertical and horizontal lines, warp and weft, but it's much smaller. What if you're running out of thread? You just flip your hoop and secure the thread. As you see, there's almost nothing on the back. All the stitches are made with the previous outline stitches. So we slide a few times under those stitches without piercing the fabric, cut and start the new thread. Other way of solving the problem when your stitch comes undone is to use a thicker thread that will cover more surface after one stitch, so we won't have to make stitches as tight and you won't need the tighter weave. Final stitch, and this is the first laid layer. Secure this thread on the back as usual, and we're gonna move to the second laid layer that is made to actually hold those long satin stitches. The second layer is made with the threads that go across the first layer, perpendicular. It can be also at an angle, and these threads will be held down in the next step by couching stitches by the third layer. And again, we only go through fabric at the edges. The spacing between these threads determines the pattern you'll see in the finished stitch. Traditional Bayeux stitch has a spacing of approximately 1 centimeter between those stitches, and it creates a simple grid. That's also part of experimentation with this stitch, choosing the spacing, the colors, the thickness of threads. So let's start somewhere here. I'm just gonna place the thread so I know where I want to go up and down. And now the thread is gonna go there. Perfect. After the first stitch, I can again place the thread to know where I want to go. So I'm coming up from up there, from the same side, and down to the lower side. I'm using just one strand of contrasting color again because I want it to be visible on video. And every time I'm just gonna place the thread and make the straight stitch and try to make the parallel lines. And again, we're going from one side to the other, and there will be almost nothing on the back. And that's my favorite part of the stitch. It's saving so much thread. Well, as much as it can, because it's the filling stitch and it has 3 layers and the outline. I finished with the stitches, and as I said, there is nothing in the middle of the back. Slide under to secure. Cut. For the second layer, we usually use the finer thread so it doesn't sit very high on the first laid layer, because then the couching will feel and look a bit awkward. But maybe that's the look you're going for. Try this one as well, it can work on some designs. For the finishing layer that holds everything together, we're gonna make couching stitches, and I'm using contrasting thread. Again, just one strand because we're gonna make the tiny stitches here. Come up near that second layer laid thread from underside of it and go down on the other side of that thread, wrapping it. As you go down, do not pull the thread very hard because you can, well, I'm gonna show what will happen. The thread will sink in too much and kind of divide those threads of the first laid layer and open the gap between them. So just go down, but don't do it too hard. Pattern of your couching stitches create the surface texture. The Bayeux stitch pattern offsets them in a brick formation. The stitches of one row sit between the stitches of the next row. So I'm offsetting instead of making stitch right here, and I'm doing it in between the stitches of the nearby column. When it's only one strand, I like to come up kind of from under the thread and go down into the same hole, wrapping that thread. Now 2 rows are done, and let me show you how the stitches affect the surface, how well they hold. I will take out the fabric from the hoop. You can see when I fold the fabric, the side that's not secured is getting all loose, and this left side stays perfectly attached to fabric and it moves with the fabric, and that's why we do this. So the finished pieces with the stitch don't have to be taut. It can be something wearable, but as you see, there's some feeling on the back as we go couching those stitches. This is my third column, and I'm making stitches on the same height as the first column. And the fourth column repeats the height of stitches of the second column. These are all 3 layers. I did a few slidings under the outline thread to secure the thread, and don't forget to do that after each change of thread or after each new stitch. And this is the Bayeux stitch. 3 layers, 1 outline stitch, and a lot of possibilities. As you saw, on the loose fabric without a hoop, the stitches will still hold, so you can use it on anything that is not stretched in a hoop, not just for wall hangings, for pillowcases, embroideries on clothes, and a lot of different designs. So if you want to do the whole flower, click on the link under this video and subscribe to my mailing list. You will get the file with all the details and instructions. If you like making Bayeux stitch with me, consider joining my Patreon page to dive in deeper. All insiders have access to the past techniques, to the whole library. Needle-lace, bargello, Luneville hook, and 11 more. And I'm also planning to make the whole series of Bayeux stitch patterns. I hope you enjoyed this video, thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.